Hello there. So we'll continue with lesson 3 in unit 5, and we'll move to the reading exercise, the first reading in this lesson. So I'm going to go through the reading and then we'll try to answer the question together. So risk is the likelihood or chance of an accident because of a hazard. Likelihood means the possibility. So it's possible. It's possible that you will have an accident. You have, or a chance. Chance, the same thing like a possible. So there's a possibility of it's possible. You can, maybe you will have an accident because of a hazard. An accident can cause injury, illness, or property damage. So it can be dangerous to your health. It can cause injury, body injury, illness also involving your health, or it can also cause property damage to your property, like your car, for example, if you are involved in a car accident. So we do risk assessment to determine the appropriate ways to eliminate the hazard or control the risk when the hazard cannot be eliminated. So that's why we do risk assessment. So that first of all, to determine, to identify, to find out. That's the meaning of determine. Find out or identify the appropriate ways, means the good ways, the ways that are good to eliminate the hazard, means to remove it. Or if we can't remove it, then we should control the risk so that we don't have serious effects, bad effects. When the hazard cannot, of course, if we can't eliminate it, then we should try to control it. An accident can be very likely. What's the meaning of very likely? Very likely means can happen frequently. So it happens often, 90%. So it can happen very often. That's number one. Number two is likely. Can happen occasionally. Occasionally means it can happen sometimes. So that's 50%. It can happen 50%. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Unlikely. Unlikely means can happen rarely. Rarely means not often. Okay, only very few times, or very few times. So it doesn't happen very often. Or very unlikely means it's not really probable. The probability is very, very low. So very unlikely means can happen but may never. So only 10% of the possibilities. So this is about risk assessment and the different types of accidents. So let's move to the exercise now. Choose the correct option. Number one, risk is the likelihood of a hazard or an accident. So it's the possibility of a hazard or, number one, a hazard or an accident. Question number two, an accident can cause a hazard, or number two, it can cause injury, illness, or property damage. And then number three, very likely accidents can happen many times or sometimes. And then the last question, that is number four, likely accidents can never happen or can sometimes happen. So I'll give you a few minutes to answer the questions and then we'll see them together. Okay, so let's move to the answers. With question number one, that is, risk is the likelihood of a hazard or an accident. Of course, it's the likelihood of an accident. And then number two, an accident can cause a hazard? No, a hazard is there before the accident. It's sort of the possibility of having an accident. But it's actually the cause of, an accident can cause injury, illness, or property damage. So that's number two. And then number three, very likely accidents can happen. They are very likely, so they happen many times, not sometimes, many times. It's number one. And the last question, likely accidents can never happen or can sometimes happen. They can sometimes happen because they are likely. Likely means possible. Likely means it's possible that they will occur or they will happen. So these are the answers, or the answers there. They are written for you